welcome back to another episode of 52 Movies. I just want to show off this cute little board I got. I think it'll be really fun to kind of have just sitting in the background and telling what movies we're going to be talking about. It's not like you can't read the title or anything, but I just thought it was cute, okay? So my goal for the year was to watch and review 52 movies. And a lot of things have happened this year. This has been one of the most eventful years I've had in a very long time, besides last year. Of course, last year we were all stuck at home, but you know what I mean. But this year I have gone through a lot of changes and a lot of things have happened. It's just been a really wild year. So I've gotten behind with my 52 movies, and initially when I started this whole series, I wanted to do one every week. And that would equal to 52 because there's 52 weeks in a year. But that might not happen if I continue at the rate that I'm going. And also, there are just some movies that I don't really have a whole lot to say about, but I still watch them. So I kind of feel like I need to at least mention them. You know what I mean? So I'm going to do that in a sub-series of 52 movies called Mini Reviews. And it's basically just going to be a video talking about all of the movies that I've been watching recently that I just didn't have as much to say about as my full-length reviews. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So the first movie we will be talking about is Luca. Luca is about a couple of sea monster friends who can turn into humans when they get on dry land. So they spend the summer on dry land in an Italian seaside town. They make new friends and learn a lot about the human world. And in the end, the sea monsters and the humans learn to be more accepting of each other. Overall, a wonderful theme to a cute movie. So Luca is an interesting one, because while it is a Pixar film, it really does stand out compared to the rest of their catalog. While watching it, I felt like it was very Disney independent versus Disney Pixar. I will now insert a meme that I found about this movie that I thought was really funny, and also it kind of explains why this movie feels so different compared to other Pixar movies. I really love the creativity of this movie. The way they animated the transformations from monsters to humans and humans to monsters was really cool and really well done. The story had a wonderful message about acceptance and friendship. Overall, this movie was really beautiful and magical, and I would recommend it to just about anybody. It's silly at times, and it feels a lot more geared towards children than other Pixar movies. Of course, they're made for, a younger audience, but this one felt a little bit less mature versus, Inside Out, where it's delving into the complexities of consciousness and emotions and stuff. This one is kind of very story-based. There's probably deeper layers, but it doesn't go as deep as like I said, Inside Out. It was very much like The Little Mermaid, and it was fun and interesting and silly, and I really liked it, and I think you probably would too. So the next movie we have is called Wish Dragon. So this movie I loved a lot. I had a lot of fun with this one. It is about a young guy named Din who wants to reconnect with his long-lost friend. And he's given a teapot with a wish dragon in it that will grant him 3 wishes. It came really close to being a knockoff Aladdin. Like, this close. I won't spoil anything, but I was just watching this movie, enjoying myself, having a good time. And then towards the middle of the movie, the main character does something that made me feel like this movie was going to end up just like Aladdin. And it jarred me so bad, I just shouted, "Aladdin!" and I was watching this with my family, and they were probably like, "What the heck?" Thankfully, it didn't go completely how I thought it would. And it ended up actually being pretty original. The ending, I thought, had a good message, and it was just really sweet. In terms of animation, there was one thing that I saw that looked kind of odd to me. All of the lip syncing in this movie was perfect. It fit the voices, it fit the words that they were saying, but Din had this one friend who was not lip synced very well. It was very strange, and I don't know what happened there. Maybe it was like a character trait, because he was kind of goofy and stuff. I don't think it was a mistake. It was weird. Another thing I noticed in terms of animation was the limbs of these characters are very noodle-like. It looked like there were no bones or joints at all. It reminded me a lot of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or Gru from Despicable Me, and I kind of liked it as a stylistic choice. It was interesting. My opinion about this movie was already stated at the beginning, but I will say it again. I loved this movie, and I think you would love it too. It's a movie I didn't hear a whole lot about except for a couple of tweets I saw on Twitter and the preview screen on Netflix. Other than that, I didn't really hear either good or bad reviews about this movie. It kind of flew under the radar, I felt like a little bit. So I kind of just want to spread awareness about this movie. It was really fun, and I had a good time. So the next movie we're going to talk about is Philomena. It's actually a movie I watched in March or April, and I had written an entire script about it. I had filmed the review, and I just could not make myself edit it. It is a movie that's just really sad, but I thought that since I watched it, I at least have to mention that I watched it. And I'm going to tell you just like a brief little thing about it. Go watch it or don't. It's got an important message of, things coming to light that should have never happened, stuff like that. I like that it exposed some of the harmful practices that the Catholic Church participated in the 1950s in Ireland, but to me the ending was just a little too sad. I felt like it wanted to go for an optimistic ending where Philomena forgives the people who did all of those bad things to her. It's about how unmarried pregnant women were sent to live at the Sean Ross Abbey in Ireland and were forced to give their babies up for adoption. Overall, I wouldn't recommend the average viewer watch it unless you want to know about what all these women went through. And it is really important to talk about these things so that we, never repeat them. But it's sad. So let's move on to the next movie. So the last movie we're going to talk about in this review is The Willoughbys. The Willoughbys is an animated movie on Netflix about siblings whose parents are emotionally abusive and neglectful. It is based on a book by the same name by Lois Lowry, the author of The Giver. The premise of this movie sounds very bleak and sad, but the bright colors and the humor kind of make up for all of the dark themes. This movie reminded me a lot of Matilda, which is also based on a children's book. And the reason why I say this is pretty obvious, but it's mostly because of the neglectful parents and the humor. This movie was a lot of fun. I've been forcing my family to watch a lot of animated movies. They have all been pleasantly surprised with my choices so far, which as a lover of all things animated makes me very happy. And this movie was no exception. We were all engaged and we kept guessing what would happen next. It was a lot of fun and it had a pretty happy ending despite all the sadness that we were met with at the beginning of the movie. Overall, it's a good movie about family, and if you gave it a try, you'd probably have a good time. In conclusion, I will now rank these movies based on how much I enjoyed them. Nothing else. No overanalyzing, no looking at filmmaking techniques or themes or anything that I normally do. I'm just judging based strictly on feelings and vibes. My first place ranking was really hard. I enjoyed 2 movies in this list a lot, and it was hard to pick between the 2 of them, but I'm going to go with Luca. It is a movie that is engaging but also relaxing. The town and the atmosphere felt very Studio Ghibli. It reminded me a lot of Kiki's Delivery Service. Kiki moved to a seaside town and got to know all of the residents there, and I saw a lot of those aspects in this movie. If you know anything about me, you know that I love Kiki's Delivery Service. It is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love that movie so much, and I've loved it since I was itty bitty. So based on the fact that it reminded me a lot of Kiki's Delivery Service, it's no surprise that this movie was in first place. I could definitely see Luca becoming one of my comfort movies in the future. In second place, we have Wish Dragon. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I thought it was unique and fun, and I just loved it. I liked the story, I liked the message, and how bright and colorful everything was. I think another contributing factor to how much I enjoyed this movie was the fact that I really didn't have any expectations going into it because I hadn't heard like a whole lot about it. So it shocked me with how good it was. And that's why it's in second place. I really enjoyed that one. Coming in third is The Willoughbys. So this one was really cute. And it also dealt with a lot of dark themes, and in the end, everything turned out okay. I always love a good happy ending. I also love the look of this movie. It was really in your face with color and action, and it kept our attention. Compared to the other animated movies I've discussed in this review, I think Luca would be more wholesome than this movie, and Wish Dragon would be more mature. But overall, I enjoyed The Willoughbys. In last place, we have Philomena. It is not a bad movie. It was well made, and it talked about things that should be talked about. But based on feelings and vibes, this had to have been in last place because I was sad for a couple of days after watching this. If you like movies about real life and can handle it, it's an important movie to watch. And it's important to know about the things that went on during that time. So give it a whirl if you think you can handle how sad it is. But I won't be watching that one again, at least not for a long time. Overall, I had a few good months watching movies. I'm hoping to get back on schedule with the 52 movies and watching a movie every week, but I'm not making any promises. So for now, I hope you enjoyed this mini episode of 52 movies. I'm thinking we're gonna do a song of the week, but I didn't really think this out, so now I gotta go locate a song. 1 second. So the first song that came to mind when thinking of a song for a song of the week is Calling You Back by the Marias. I have been listening to the Marias a lot lately. I love their new album. It was really, really good, and this was a song on that new album. It's not my favorite song by them, but it's one that's really catchy, and I've just been enjoying it a lot lately. I've already recommended one of their songs. I think it was my prom night review, but I didn't have my other phone charged to show you that song. So I hope that you looked it up and enjoyed that one. But today we're going to be talking about Calling You Back. And I'm just going to play a portion of it on my laptop because my phone is still not charged, my other one. Cause mama told me keep it real. I can do anything. I'ma give you the world. Spin it and live it. But I'm calling you back. So that was Calling You Back by the Marias. It's very catchy, very upbeat, very edgy. I really like that song a lot. And I hope you do too. And I will see you next week, hopefully. Bye.